Hello to everyone, I'm Branka, BA3 student at Swiss Hotel Management School, and I'm very delighted to present you my final video for my second academic internship. After spending 5 months at Mandarin Oriental Milan in the HR department, I must admit that I've extended my skills and knowledge from an operational internship in first year, F&B, to an administrative internship this year. Two completely different worlds that share the same mission, which in Mandarin Oriental's case is to completely delight and satisfy our guests. We are committed to making a difference every day, continually getting better to keep us the best. Before starting this fantastic journey, I have set 4 different objectives that will help me to learn more and keep track of what I've done so far and how could I improve to reach the final goal. My first objective was to reduce by 20% the time spent doing each different task after these 5 months. In order to become more confident when multitasking, for example, being able to pick up the phone and answer questions while writing an email just before a conference call, or being able to file some documents in our shared drive, meanwhile assisting colleagues that have some inquiries about salary, holidays, etc. on our system. After weeks of training, I definitely reached this goal due to the fact that the environment in our office was amazing, in the sense that I was not treated as a simple intern but as a full-time colleague, and this pushed me to wake up in the morning and go to the office super energetic and willing to grow within the department, asking questions on how and why we do something this way. Of course, as soon as they saw how interested am I, they gave me more responsibilities and duties, which made my days more packed but at the end more satisfying. For 1 week, I was basically working alone as the L&D manager was transferred to Geneva, plus few random days when she was out of office. At that point, I was doing more HR admin tasks with the other 2 colleagues, but I had a list of duties that usually the L&D manager does, and they took over it. At the end, she got surprised that I managed to do everything without asking her for suggestions during her transfer, and she was glad that she could trust me. Nevertheless, I had no previous experience. In this case, I believe that I improved also my problem-solving skills, meaning that there is no right or wrong solution as long as you first try to finding a solution and then you apply your knowledge or skills to solve the issue and finally check the outcome. My second objective was to improve my screening skills of our candidates, which is a really hard task as in hospitality and especially F&B, the turnover is very high. Most of the time you don't have enough time to pick the perfect talent that fits a specific position. Or you just think when reading a CV that the person has a high potential for that position, but in a short time it turns into a fail. Even after 2 or 3 interviews, and not only for line staff positions, but also managerial ones. For this objective, I would take into consideration just the interns, as I was in contact with them, and I was mainly responsible to arrange interviews with the head of department and L&D manager, and assisting live or Skype interviews, also by asking questions and presenting our property and hotel group to them. During these 5 months, I got a positive feedback from a few departmental managers saying that I made a great job in finding these young talents with the obvious support of my manager. The third objective is all about administrative duties, where I really wanted to be able to go to work and do my things as if I were a colleague, not having to ask what can I do or how do I do this. In fact, at the beginning, they showed me how to use and file some documents like certificates, attendance sheet, contracts, and important documents holding private information. Afterwards, I became so proactive that sometimes it happened that I was the one telling my manager what I already did to make her job easier and to remind her on what we could do next. She was super organized, but in some situations, especially when there is a lot of stress and many things going on, in such a small office, we tend to mix or forget things, so it is normal to make mistakes, and when somebody is able to prevent it, you feel more relaxed and grateful. This is the reason they kept saying that I'm an asset in their department and I do more than what they expect from me or from an intern. I became so independent and more secure after working under pressure and by receiving positive feedbacks and suggestions on how to improve the approach to work colleagues and the work itself for a possible managerial role from the HR director. Ending with the last objective that was not very applicable for my case, which is to be able at the end of my internship to organize fun activities like team buildings for colleagues and interns or some sort of like motivational material. The reason I choose this topic is that colleague engagement is fundamental to reduce turnover, raise happiness, and consequently efficiency, and at the end profit, of course. However, being an intern, you can give suggestions, share ideas, or say your opinion, but from a time-consuming and financial side, this was not possible. Being a very young hotel, only 2 years old, and the first 5-star luxury hotel in Milan with a 2 Michelin star restaurant and a very busy and popular F&B for local guests and tourists made my goal not feasible. I believe that this experience helped me to understand what I really like and I'm good at. Seeing issues about different operational departments, for example, made me think about some solution that I may apply during my 3rd year, especially for the World of Hospitality event where I applied for an HR position. In this last part of my video, I would like to share my personal experience taking into considerations the possible cross-culture miscommunication and work conflict. To be honest, I didn't encounter any big conflict with my team and other colleagues. However, sometimes I had to face different opinions that could lead to an argument within our office. Being privacy the key word for my position, I'm not really able to speak about the actual issue we had, but there are a few cases where myself and other 3 girls, HR assistant director, L&D manager and the other intern, had a different opinion about a problem that our director shared partly with us and ended acting in his way. This means that even his role was to fix issues that may cause colleagues disengagement, he preferred to follow the GM suggestions or departmental head suggestions. Even when organizing a colleague summer party, our idea was to do something different, for example, from the previous ones. However, the HR director didn't really think about what would be better for our colleagues and didn't put much effort in trying to get permission from our GM. This showed me a weakness from his side, which is to fight for his team and colleagues' motivation, commitment in order to reduce turnover, and consequently the cost of recruiting and training new employees. I believe that international experience is a must if one day I want to become a manager or director. It really opens your mind, and when working for big companies like Mandarin Oriental, where each Mandarin shares the same values, it would be appreciated to follow their standards and not the Italian standards. Sometimes I felt that I was not working for a hotel group when it comes to ethics, etc. This is probably due to the strong Italian cultural background, and what I learned from SHMS is the opposite. To conclude my video, I'd like to share how important is the feedback when communicating, especially in non-verbal communication, like emails, post-its, body language, etc., between colleagues and managers, and how it is easy to misinterpret a message. This is probably the start point leading to cross-cultural miscommunication and further issues in performing the job in an excellent way. Last but not least, building a warm and positive working environment is crucial to push your team to do the best and make them feel essential. It's hard to explain how positive and mature I feel after this experience, thanks to Mandarin Oriental Milan.